Mm-hmm. Another fantastic day. Welcome back. We've been on vacation. We've been doing some skiing up in Aspen and some rowboat competitions and a few other things. But now we're back with Chris Greenman at Patriot XL. And we're watching pay-per-view. Well, there was UFC in the weekend. Then there was the Iranian war. That was kind of like a UFC pay-per-view. And
very much so.
I think more people got hurt in the UFC than the actual attack from Iran. I mean, what was your takeaway from seeing that so far?
Did you ever when you were a kid, did you ever try to shoot a bird with a BB gun?
Maybe.
I think most
bottle
kids
rocket. Bottle rocket, yeah. Good.
Did you ever hit them?
I don't think I did, no.
No. Okay, so basically we had all these birds in the sky, right? The only difference was our BB guns had like heat-seeking, ballistic BBs on them and hit every single target. And if I was Iran, I'd be a little embarrassed because you set off that many. I think 300 was the number, right? Something like around there.
300 plus between drones and missiles. I don't think they were all missiles, but it's a combination of the two. But I mean, like, we were saying earlier, you have a 3-hour heads up. They're on their way. We're watching them in the sky. We're not even going to do the news now because the missiles won't matter for 3 hours from now. We'll show back up when the show starts.
Whereas, if, like you were saying, like a nuclear war, then you better hope you're not a target. You better be way underground and have a lot of food and and you're able to absorb radiation and stuff like that. So it's a lot different. But this type of stuff, like you said, 3 hours, okay, we see it coming, boom, blow it up. Everybody throws money down the drain. The missile it took to take it out, the missile that was coming over, or the drone that was coming over. So pretty fascinating idiocracy, if you ask me. But
I love that movie. Well, it's funny. You look at these guys; they're shooting the big old weapons, and you're going, okay, is that all you got? Is that it? I mean, we haven't even, we've seen what Israel can do with F-35s, get deep into Iran and blow stuff up if they want to. And they haven't even gone after like all kinds of other variants and targets, just their nuclear program thus far, So
yeah, I think the restraint that Israel has shown is overlooked because look what happened to them. If that happened like on American soil, I mean, the rage with I would think the rage of Americans, except maybe some of the Biden people, would be off the charts, and the response would be just vicious. I mean, that's what I think would happen. So the restraint that Israel is showing is, in my opinion, pretty remarkable.
Well, there's that, and then like these weapons, like, okay, these are countries with older technologies, and they talk it up at all these shows, and they say it can do this and that. And, it's almost like a concept car. It looks like it can go 300 miles an hour. But then when you get it, it's more like a Chevette. It's really not that fast. It's not even economical, but it's small and uncomfortable, so it doesn't really live up to what was advertised. It looked really sleek in the concept drawing,
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, I think another thing that we're the only country that does all these proxy wars and test out all these weapons. And you got to think that part of our strategy is to actually test out these weapons, see which ones work, don't work. And that gives us a crazy advantage if you think about it, because at the beginning of the Russian-Ukraine war, I mean, so much of, there was all this hype on Russia, and they weren't able to take out Ukraine in 3 days or 2 days like everyone anticipated, because reality's, stuck in, and you see, okay, people are defending their homes, and you're going to get the whole country and out there fighting, and that's why it's still going on.
Well, look at this, man. Look at these, look at Ukraine defeating the Russian fleet with basically souped up little motorboats or friggin' jet skis. I mean, these things can go at that. They can go 600 miles. That's a hell of a range. They get so they're not small, and they carry 1,000-pound explosive load. So they took out so many major ships that were. Before, when I was in the Navy, they were like, oh, these are impenetrable. This is the Fort Knox of weaponry, blah, blah, blah. And it gets taken out by this thing. And meanwhile, the Houthis did launch something like that against the American ships. But what's the difference? The radars, the systems, the American sensors.
Right.
the satellites, everything that America has. Oh, we see you coming. We see you coming, fool. And it's like like yesterday was just a case of defense. You haven't even seen offense yet from the
Yeah,
Israelis.
I compare it to like when I have a German Shepherd and I have a bulldog, and when my bulldog tries to attack my German Shepherd just kind of like plays with it, like, okay, that's a good try, and he'll put his whole head in his mouth, and then the bulldog, figures out reality and stops. And I think that's almost the same posture that the U.S. is having right here. It's like, okay, you guys sent your whole arsenal, and we just kind of like flicked it off our shoulder. It was like, okay, that was cute. That was cute. You had one missile that made that the debris hurt someone on a base, the little girl, but not life threatening. That was just the extent of the damage you did after spending, I don't know how much.
More people died last night in Chicago in a gunfight downtown in gang warfare.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Then 300 something, like millions upon millions of dollars compared to
Yeah.
some guy with a pistol downtown Chicago.
I mean, you might as well just go to Pahrump and buy a bunch of freaking fireworks and let them all off. I mean, yeah, they're loud, they explode, but freaking, no one's getting
Right.
hurt. You know.
So people said, well, that's just to show you. Now we know what you have. I'm like, well, then if you don't know where everything is, well, you were marking it. I mean, there was also rumors that half the munition, half the stuff that was fired didn't even go off. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So you're looking at stuff that's behind the times technologically. America's always been on the cutting edge with DARPA,
right.
And Israel has been on the cutting edge with their own inventions as well.
Yeah,
They're
and
very
they have
survival, right?
they're like their fighters and their jet, their pilots are insane. Like their fighters are their training is crazy. I mean, some of them have a lot better pilots than we have in the U.S. I mean, that's their job 24/7, and they take pride in it, and so
They spend more time in action due to where they live and how much time they've been in war consistently. It's like having a martial arts school with this point fighting and one that has actual sparring.
right.
Then there's actually going to the fight. Maybe your one guy could actually do some okayness from the sparring gym and get lucky, in the
Lloyd
tournament.
Machida. I mean, the one that got through.
Wonder Boy, yeah. He might translate to MMA,
Yeah, but I mean, we all saw. I mean, that's a great comparison. We all saw in MMA how good the karate guys did at the beginning. They just all got their ass kicked.
They get tackled.
Yeah, exactly.
By wrestlers like you.
Exactly. Which why we weren't allowed in there, But that's
that would have been, that was definitely an entertaining time, man.
Right.
So you look at these weapons and you look at what's not happening and you look at the news, and the news is spinning it 4, 5, 6 different ways. One guy's like, oh, we're getting dragged into World War III. I'm like, okay, they don't have nuclear weapons. Yeah, but they're almost there. They're almost there. They're almost there. Well, you do that so you sell copies, so you sell news.
Yes,
okay,
exactly.
We understand your propaganda, so you make money with clickbait. Okay. The second one is the guy that's getting the most views is the guy saying how, look at America, they looked horrible last night, shooting all those missiles out of the sky.
Right. And then, and then Google, they look at this person saying something like this and they give it priority, and all of a sudden it's the top story that people are looking at, and they believe it. And that's the stupidity of a lot of the people that buy into some of the fake news and stuff like that. So,
well, look at the teams out there. Okay, you get Russia that hasn't been able to wipe out Ukraine, which is smaller, and it was right next door. You have to travel across the world for that one.
And they've lost. Let's not forget how many people they've lost. I mean, they've lost way more people than Ukraine has.
They've been whooping ass, supposedly. I don't know. I'm not there, but supposedly they're whooping ass now because they got more artillery, and the Ukraine, everything in Congress is holding up them getting new bullets or whatever.
Right.
But that just shows you. I mean, you've already lost a third of your fleet. You've lost a good percentage of your army, and you haven't. And hey, no, not going to say they're unqualified. These Ukrainians have definitely showed their mettle. They're qualified. They're badasses, dude.
Yeah, 100%.
They're fighting badass dudes. There's no question about them. So, tell me what we're gonna show, and let's react to what you've got going on here. Let's see what.
Well, this is I kind of like Pierce Morgan and Bill Maher, because Bill Maher he's pretty much been on the left his whole life, but he's slowly coming over, and so it's kind of It's kind of an interesting view of how when they talk about this, and you guys will check this out in 1 second here.
And brought to you by Pickleball, our top sponsor, the USA Today.
Okay.
Pickleball.
So that's where we are. Now can I talk about American propaganda? Because there was a rally in Dearborn, Michigan. It's a large Muslim population. Chant of death to America. I feel like we've passed something here. You know, I mean, the
This
left
is
has
huge
gotten
for this
mad
guy
at
to
me
say
for
this.
many years for talking about Islam. I try not to do it too much because I know it makes them go crazy, and I've made my point. But it needs to be talked about now. When you start chanting death to America in America, I mean, I got it, Charlottesville was real bad when they were chanting death to the, what was it, Jews will not replace us. But on American soil, here's the Tarek Bazi is the organizer of this. This was at the end of Ramadan, International Day of Quds, Al-Quds, which was pronounced originally by, he said, this is why Imam Khomeini, that's the Ayatollah Khomeini. Remember him, yep. The Ayatollah Khomeini? He's the good guy now. Khomeini, he would say to pour all your chants and all of your shouts upon the head of America. Yeah, I heard this before. Not coming from America, but the great chastisement. We will chastise the infidels. But now it's coming from inside America. Sorry, got to talk about this again. He said, we live in one of the rottenest countries that ever existed on earth. It's not just genocide, Joe, that has to go. It's the entire system that has to go. No, it doesn't. I like our system. This is America, for crying out loud.
Well, what about...
And there are people who see me say this, oh, he's a conservative now. I'm a conservative. I have not changed. I always liked America and thought death through it was bad.
Well, how about...
You know, the beauty of that really at the end there is Bill's like, yeah,
I don't know who this guy is, but he needs to get off our screen.
Goodbye, Mr. Rubin. Okay.
Anyways,
go ahead.
You got someone like Bill that is basically switching sides. That he's been a harsh. He's not conservative. He says he's conservative, but he's not conservative. But he's definitely going that way now because he even someone like him starts seeing the light at the end of the tunnel on how much, how stupid some of this policy is. It's relieving to see that. I mean, we're starting to see the change that I think we're going to need for 2024. So,
well, we see the argument there's been an argument since the beginning of this, great medicinal hideout, and
right.
Now that we're through that, people are back at their jobs. There used to be a saying, if you slow America down, if you stop selling for 24 hours, America will go broke because America is a sales machine. And essentially, we turned America off. We turned off the key for weeks.
Right.
Luckily, it was still there when we woke up. Several weeks in a row. Right.
Right.
So you look at that and you go, okay, how are we going to make it through this? Well, there's plenty of people that were liberal or Democratic that you and I probably get along with just fine.
Right.
It's fine. We didn't even know what their politics were. None of us knew each other's politics.
We didn't care.
It
wasn't affecting us.
Right. We weren't sitting at home getting some brainwash thrown. Okay, now we have now everybody from these little groups are going to really just start, mounting a major social media attack because there's nothing else to watch on TV. And some people are going to join it.
Right.
Right.
100%.
And some of them were your friends. They went and joined a cult.
Yeah.
And you're like, what happened to Joey? What happened to Jenny? They're like, I can't talk to you. You're left-handed.
Yeah. I mean, that's true.
Right.
I was gonna say. Also, go ahead.
People are so sorry to say this, Chris, but people are so susceptible to joining cults.
Oh.
And even smart people that people like to think they're a strong-headed individual. And I accidentally discovered one time when I got hired to manage a large martial arts school before we had one together. And I was in there, and everyone was bowing to the Grand Master that taught the Taekwondo, and bow to the Grand Master. And before you know it, all these people were full of sunshine and Taekwondo kicks, and not going home to their family and acting really weird. And I had to leave that place, and since they couldn't brainwash me to any degree, I just saw that everybody else but me, all 200 something people but me, were definitely under this spell. And it is pretty scary when you see these people are just like, their eyes are wide open. They're like, huh? Yeah. Yeah. Huh? Yeah. They're not even thinking for themselves. So when I saw this happen, I'm like, man, it could be 2 football teams, or it could be pick a fighter, or it could be pick a politician, or it could be, pick your favorite car. Well, I disagree. I think Ford sucks. I'm a Tesla guy. Whatever it is, you know what I mean?
I took a video today, speaking of Tesla, a little off subject, but so the car self drives, right? So I was coming back from pickleball, and I just put home, and dude, I just kicked back like this, and it drove me all the way home, like the 3 little pigs. And it's the coolest thing ever, dude. But anyways,
oh, that's cool to know. No, we can talk about whatever we want on this damn thing. It's your show. But
yeah.
But so it did that. So did he drop the price of that self-driving app for $99 or something, didn't he?
Yeah, all of a sudden I just got it. It just started happening. I upgraded my software, and like it's freaking self-driving, dude. It parks for you. You call it if you're somewhere, it'll come drive to you and pick you up. Dude, it's freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I don't do anything. No one. I don't think you like to drive when you're 16. It's fun for a few years, but then at the end of the day, it's always better if someone else drives, right? I mean, you can.
When you get older, you don't mind someone else driving as much.
Yeah. So
when you're young, you want the control, you want the power.
Here's the thing that you might want to throw up there as a topic that could help a lot of people out. If you do drink, you and I don't drink. I mean, I don't think you do. I don't. Yeah. I mean, on a very rare occasion, I'll have maybe a sip of something. But if I was to drink, or if I was to smoke the magic herb, or do some crack, or do something else, right? I would hit the self-driving thing as soon as I left wherever I was at. A cop could not pull you over because this thing drives perfect. Okay, you can usually follow someone and they'll break like 5 vehicle violations within like 2 minutes. This thing, it does everything perfect. It changes lanes perfect. It has the right timing. It has the right distance between cars, so you can't say following too closely or anything like that. It doesn't. It drives perfect. It's like the perfect driving instructor that's driving your car. And so your PC or any probable cause that any cop says that they're pulling you over is going to be bogus BS, because there's nothing it does nothing wrong. Like, I tried to find something it did wrong, and there's nothing it did wrong. It's perfect, and it's kind of scary. So I mean,
it just happened today. It just happened today, huh? You just got it today.
Well, no, I started playing with it about 3 days ago, but then now I'm really playing with it. I actually put the destination I'm going, and the thing just drives itself. So I mean, I challenge it sometimes. Like, I'll put it in places where there's no lines on the road or something like that. So it's advanced so much that the cameras give it it gets technology from satellites, and it gets technology from its real time with the cameras, and then it combines it all, and it's just sick, dude.
Well, what's the ruling on the law by that? It's kind of like, it's there. You're not supposed to use one hand on the thing, but people do it anyways. But
yeah. So it's a gray area. But here's the deal. So as long you have to look forward. The only rule that's there right now is you have to look forward. Now, how long is it going to be before myself or somebody else invents something that has like this face looking forward, being like, and then you can be doing whatever you want, right?
It's an airbag face. It pops up in front of your face.
Yeah. So prior to this software update, it made you have your hands on the wheel. And so a lot of people like myself got this magnet. It's a heavy magnet that goes around the steering wheel, and it puts a counterweight so it thinks your hands are on the wheel. Well, Tesla caught on to that, and it had a little message. It looks like you're using some aftermarket device to cheat. I was like, damn.
You're using the cheat code. You will be disqualified from this game.
But with this update, though, you don't have to have your hands on the wheel. So you just literally kick back, and the only thing it makes you do is look forward. And like I said, someone's going to figure something out to make that so you don't have to do that anymore. So it's pretty sick. You could do a lot of things. Like, I played 2 games of chess on the way home, and a little bit of Candy Crush, and yeah. I mean, nice. All while the car was driving, and then I got home perfectly and safe, because here I am,
I've watched the Waymo cars. Do they have Waymos where you live? I know they have in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Do they have Waymo taxis where you live?
They do.
They come and they drive you home from the club, and there's no driver in there?
Yeah, they have them in Anaheim.
In Anaheim?
Yeah, that's the only place that I've seen them.
They're kind of like going on the little teacup ride over in Disneyland, I guess.
Yeah.
Not too exciting.
Well, yeah, I think this is all going to take over everything because obviously, if everyone had like, let's just say everyone had a Tesla, and it perfects itself in the next couple of years even more, well, you won't have any accidents, or
Yeah.
you'll have very little, because most accidents are with user error or driver error, or in airplanes it's usually never mechanical, it's always pilot error.
It could like
And
free up a lot of old people trapped in the old home. Like, hey,
yeah,
my car is coming to get me. Doot doot. You
yeah.
know?
Well, my dad's a horrible driver. My dad shouldn't have a driver's license.
Yeah.
And yeah, he might hurt somebody, and I'll feel bad about it because I told my mom he shouldn't be driving. But he's a stubborn dude, like a lot of old people are.
They want
And
to, the last thing you'll take is my keys. Yeah.
exactly, and that's his mentality. It's like, yeah, I had a stroke. Yeah, I can't remember what I did yesterday, but yeah, I'm going to drive a car. Okay, that's not a good idea in general.
I'm a truck driver. Don't you
Yeah,
know? No, you're not.
I'm a Formula One driver. And couple that with how fast Teslas are, especially like when you start getting into like the plaids and stuff like that. It's ridiculous fast. It'll blow away any Ferrari or anything like that. So you start doing that, and then you have like a Cybertruck, like I'm on the wait list for that. So you're gonna go 0 to 60 in like 2.6 seconds in a truck that weighs like 7,000 pounds, and it's stainless steel. Has like, you're gonna hurt some people, man.
Yeah.
If you with that much power that fast, you get some stupid kid that gets his dad's car, he's gonna kill like a bunch of people. It's not funny. I'm just saying, you gotta if you have an automated system, I think you're gonna have a lot less injuries and deaths
Well, speaking of automated, they must be automating some of the processes at Tesla because they laid off 10% of their workers in Austin last night.
Right. I heard about that.
Yeah.
And it's not because of lack of business. The backup order for certain, like the Roadster and the Cybertruck, goes at least 4 years deep. So,
wow.
and it's as fast as they can make them, they sell them. So, and they're laying off 10%. So that does tell you a lot, because it's not because of lack of demand, lack of sales, or anything like that. They have all that done. So,
what do you think it is? It's automation, right?
Yeah, 100%. It's
AI is doing your job. What do you do? I call people and I take care of the R23 forms. Yeah, we have make an app for that. AI, make an app for that. Yeah, AI is like, boom.
Think about it. You and I are both business people. We have been our whole lives. If we owned Hallmark or any greeting card, and we're paying 20 people to write little notes like, "Hey, the day I met you was the day I discovered I had all the love in the world, and every flower reminds me of our breath on you know what I'm talking about." I don't have to go into it, but
that was heavy, man. I was turned on, but go on.
Yeah, well, me too. And but now you just go, Chat GPT or whatever you want to do, and just hey, write me a love note to my wife, or write me a love note to my girlfriend that doesn't know about my wife, or whatever the case is, right?
Yeah.
And it busts you out something like freaking insane, way better than Hallmark.
You're like a French poet.
Yeah, I did that to my mom. I think I told you before. I did that to my mom. I go, "Mom, I wrote you a card for Mother's Day." I didn't, and then I put it on Chat GPT. I go, "I'm just gonna read it to you because I forgot it at home," and she almost started crying.
And then one time at the pond, when I held myself for thou, therefore art thou be. Giveth for thine hast. What?
I remember my first step that you made, that you led me to take when I was 2 years old, and I just looked up at you and smiled and saw in your eyes, So
your memory is so good. Like
it's vivid.
ChatGPT remembers.
It has you put like 4 points of memories, and you can put like, the pond or whatever you want to put.
And vending machine, candy cane, and Santa Claus and you. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, your mom's memory is way worse than yours, so she's not going to remember crap.
We were in a pond with a vending machine. Amazing. Thank you for reminding me.
In Central Park, I don't remember that, but it sounds like it was great, and so that's, what I'm saying, though. So if you just use that really simple example of something, why would you, if you're the CEO, why would you be paying these people, paying their benefits, paying their work comp, paying all that stuff, when you could just do it doesn't cost you anything,
right?
And you get better stuff. You'd be an idiot to keep paying those people.
Well, no offense. If you've watched Silicon Valley, I'm going to Google it while we're talking. I think it's in the hundreds of thousands. How many people been laid off? Silicon Valley in 2024.
Good question.
Let's see. 168 tech companies have already laid off 42,000 people. Okay.
That's
about
a lot.
The kind of Pleasanton got laid off.
That's a lot, though, dude.
That's a lot. Yeah. And then the year before was like it was more than that.
And then they replaced them with, government jobs where they took out all this freaking
the year
money.
Before was 226,000. 2023.
Okay.
So they didn't have any more people to lay off. They get rid of such a bulk, right? So I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you if you're watching our show. So 42,000 people. And, my wife works in tech, but she's like, I'm not going to go work at these brand name companies. I'm going to pick a specialty that's needed. And that's the way you have to look at it, because you go there and you get stock options. I mean, imagine you move to I was talking to my friend about this. You moved to Austin, Texas. I got a house with a pool. I only had a small apartment in California. In Palo Alto, I had a 1-bedroom, 600 square foot apartment and a Honda Accord. Now I got a Ford F550 double truck. I got myself that everything I always wanted, that 2 Corvettes. Yeah, I'm making $275,000. Goes a long way here. Goes a long way. Yeah, I bought this house. But so property tax is 3%. Anyways, yeah, I got this job, man. I'm with Tesla, man. I got Bitcoin. All of a sudden, bam, Bitcoin dives 40%.
Right.
You're laid off. And where are you going to go work? What other big, fancy electric car companies they're waiting for you in Austin?
Yeah, Rivian, all those guys none of them are doing that great. So
there's nowhere to run. I mean, you used to be able to hop from social media to social media. What do they call it? The FANGs.
Yeah.
FNGs. So basically you could go from Apple to Facebook to Yahoo to Google to whatever, Salesforce to LinkedIn to, you could bounce that circle. You could go work at one of the big, Intel, or you could go, you know what I mean? You could go around, do the round robin, or
right.
You could hop jobs and get stock options. That was the hustle of Silicon Valley. But there's a price to pay once you're laid off. You don't really have anything.
No, and yeah, exactly right. I mean, even we talked about, but like even what I did, what I've done for many years is becoming obsolete because it's all automated, with AI. That's SEO.
Right. You're frozen, by the way.
Hold on.
I like it. It's pretty cool. I look kind of frozen, but it looks like you're just like really focused.
I'm not. Something happened to my screen, man.
You looked really focused there for a second. Now you're black. I was like, you were black.
Yeah, well, I don't discriminate.
You're identifying as a black room with the lights turned out. I see.
Yeah. Hold on.
What happened here?
Figure this out. Hold on. It just went on. You can still hear me though, which is kind of weird. What's that?
The camera went off.
Yeah, well, I have it back on, so I didn't touch the camera.
Yeah, I don't see you in the camera. If you do your camera settings, what is it showing? Which camera?
Let me see.
Back on track. So we're going to talk about the Trump hush money case, which is getting rather interesting. This is one of your main. You watch this one when you wake up in the morning, grab your phone, and see what's tracking.
100%. 100%. Okay.
It's become your reality show.
Yeah, exactly. So let's do this. And we're off.
Begins next week, and the pool of jurors is expected to fill out a lengthy questionnaire.
They'll be asked a range of things, from if they listen to certain podcasts to if they follow groups like QAnon, that movement. Good Day's Briella Tomasetti is here now with the latest on what we can expect next week and the former president's latest efforts to postpone that trial. Briella, good morning.
Yeah, Dan and Tashani, looks like that's not happening. Former President Donald Trump's hush money case is the first of his 4 criminal indictments slated to go to trial, and this would be historic, the first criminal trial ever of a former president. Jury selection is slated to begin on April 15th, but as in any case, jurors will have to set aside their personal feelings and render a decision based on the evidence and the law. A New York appeals court judge has decided that Donald Trump's hush money trial will not be postponed. Justice Lizbeth Gonzalez handed down the ruling after hearing from Trump's lawyers and the Manhattan DA's office, which charged him with 34 counts of falsifying business records related to alleged hush money payments to porn star Stormy Daniels. The former president, who has pleaded not guilty to all counts, made a last-ditch effort to delay the trial as he fights to move the case out of Manhattan. He is suing Judge Juan Merchan, asking for a change in venue just 1 week before jury selection is scheduled to begin. In a separate filing, Trump challenged his gag order on the case. Merchan recently expanded that gag order after Trump lashed out at his daughter, a Democratic political consultant, on Truth Social. Merchan announced yesterday that prospective jurors will be asked if they've ever worked for the Trump campaign, whether they've ever attended a Trump rally, and whether they follow the former president on social media. Meanwhile, special counsel Jack Smith, who was appointed in 2022 to investigate Trump's alleged role in working to overturn the 2020 election results, is urging the Supreme Court to reject the former president's claim that he is immune from criminal prosecution. In a 66-page filing, Smith argued that there are no presidential powers which would entitle Trump to immunity.
All right, that's enough.
Okay.
You guys get the idea, right? I mean,
so is he immune? Is he not?
well, they rejected it, but the Supreme Court, I feel, is gonna rule the right way, like they have been doing for mostly all these things in the first place. So, I mean, this is beyond ridiculous, man. I mean,
Dog and pony show.
it's crazy that it's even happening in this country. This shouldn't be allowed. In general, we don't want an administration every time they get in to have, you know, like revenge on the last administration. You don't want Trump coming on and going after Biden and everybody. And then whoever wins the next one, you don't want them going after Trump again. You know, it's not a true democracy. It's not really what any of the founding fathers had envisioned to do stuff like this. I mean, he should be immune, 100%. I mean, I don't know what you think, but I definitely think he should be immune.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I mean, you're going to be given so many things that they could, you know, so many ways you could get entangled and entrapped in things you're dealing with in that job. You just step into a nest full of lobsters and tarantulas. You don't really know which way it's going to go.
And how can you be granted the power to pardon anybody in the United States, but not have the power to pardon yourself? That seems like, you know, it seems like it can't coexist. You can't allow for both of those. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make sense.
Well, that and the hush money thing coming back again. I mean, then here's a woman that goes on a hush money tour with a bunch of plumbers and carpenters and guys that work in the trades that give her money when she gets lap dances, and she's getting hush money from them too.
Right. Exactly.
Don't tell my wife. Here's $60. Dance on me. That's basically what's going on.
It's blackmail. It's just blackmail. I mean, it's the oldest form of, you know.
What doesn't make sense is all the options someone at that level of power and money would have. Why is this one such a standout?
Yeah.
It's kind of lost on me.
Exactly. I mean, and it's not like you have people that have a lot of money that do stupid things, okay? Like John Jones, UFC champ, never's lost. He had a 1-0 contest. Arguably, Dana White thinks he's the best fighter ever in the UFC, and I agree with him. How does this relate? Well, you know, John's got in so much trouble. He was a year out of being able to compete because of cocaine and driving under the influence. These are things that someone like Trump would never get caught up in. So why would Trump be stupid enough to get involved with Stormy Daniels when I actually personally think his wife's better looking? And
yeah,
I mean, he used to host the Miss America and all. I mean, put it this way: Trump's just he's not stupid. Okay, I mean, it seems like she's actually lying, and it seems like it's just another thing fabricated to throw this stuff on the wall and see what sticks. That's all it looks like.
You know, it's interesting. I saw a video yesterday about the IQs of presidents. Trump's was like 35 points higher or something of that nature, higher than Joe's, who was like 115, and Trump was like 146 or more, something like that. Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Not quite 35, but yeah, 30 something. The difference between average Joe to genius,
right?
You know, special territory. So
I was at 152 just for 2 different tests separately.
That's because you're smart.
No, really? I don't even know if that really means. Does that? You think so?
I think that's what that means, Chris.
I
So
mean, okay.
I don't know. My score wasn't that high. I'm just interpreting it from a lower man's perspective. I'm trying to figure it out down here at the bottom of the apple tree.
I think I'm good at picking out like awkward things. I mean, the tests. You ever take one of those tests?
Yeah.
It's like, what's the next number, or what's the next color, or what shape? I mean, to me, I think I'm just good at that. I don't think that makes me any smarter than the next guy, but I just think I'm good at like process of elimination. I really do. Like in school with the tests were multiple choice, I would get great grades. If it was essay, it would be horrendous. So
hypotenuse. C. That's all I can tell you. Hypotenuse. That's what it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I was able to work answers that they gave and work it backwards to see if it was possibly the question, and I could do it fast. And that's how I got it right. And I scored like really high on SAT, and like everyone was like, "How?" So it's like,
don't ask me to write a book.
No, or articulate it maybe with an essay. So
I'll really have to dig deep into my bag of made-up stories.
Right.
So you think this Trump thing? What's going to happen with the hush money? Where's that going to go?
Well, here's the thing: we have how many days till the election? I think we have like 9 months or something like that, or 8.5 months. So as this gets closer to the election, the courts are going to have to stop in with this malicious prosecution all over the United States by all Democratic, elected officials and all Democrat-controlled places of like attorney generals and courts, and it's just so biased and one-sided. I mean, there's not one Republican based prosecutor or city that is charging him with anything, and that alone, I mean, look at it like you want, but if that's the case, then there really is no merit to this stuff. I mean, really, it's just frivolous. So
there's a bunch of pre-final situations, a bunch of he's probably guilty of this, but if we get it to the real courts, then we'll all get rid of it. If they could all show up at the top level, they'd be dismissed the same day.
Exactly, and that's what's happening. I mean, the things are they have to go through the different levels. They have to go through the appellate court of the states, and then it goes to like the national, like the federal appellate court. Then it goes to then ends up the highest placing goes to Supreme Court, right? And where you have a conservative majority still, and so far it's been going in his favor, and I think it's going to continue to do that. So as we get closer, as these cases come to fruition, I think you're going to see more of them get appealed, and they're going to go up to the Supreme Court. The only interesting thing about the appellate court, like on the monetary decision where you had to come up with the $444 million or whatever, is that they stepped in, even though they're a Democratic appellate court, and they still reduced it by 75%. So that
she was trying to question that. This woman's just malicious.
100%. And if someone's campaign is driven on bringing a particular person to get arrested and prosecuted, that should show you that the bias there. I mean, you don't run a campaign saying, "Oh, I'm going to go after this," whatever somebody's name is for doing something if they haven't done anything yet. And she's saying she was going to arrest Trump for stuff he didn't even do. And then she finds something to arrest him on, and then that seems like, and that's what they go on. I mean, that shows premeditation of prejudicial prosecution, which is a joke. I mean, which you shouldn't be allowed to do. And it's like just waiting for like the adults to show up and start taking care of this stuff. That's what I always say.
That's the point we're in one big soap opera. We've got multiple wars. We've got this election thing going on. We've got gas prices. Every time a missile's fired, gas prices could go up. Like, what the hell's that got to do with gas production? Were the missiles aimed at the oil fields? No. You better watch out of the pump. The missiles were shot in the air. What the hell's that got to do with me liking pizza?
That's the thing, man. Is people are just people amaze me on how naive they are with stuff. I mean, like you said, it's just something unrelated. Okay, great. What does that have to do with gas prices, bro? It's like it's crazy. So
a couple months ago we were overproducing supposedly. Yeah. We were like selling all of our oil, making money. overseas, all the people that weren't getting it from Russia anymore, and we had plenty left over. Now it's like, I don't know, it could run out. I'm like, dude, make up your mind.
Yeah.
Make up your mind. Do we have it or we not have it? Do we have it or we not have it? It's like every narrative has a twist and a point of deception and lie, and everything that you see on the internet is clickbait, man.
100%, man.
What about the guy that's like, like I told you earlier, what did you think about the guy that said, well, they fired the missiles, but that was just so they could see where they have all their missile response stations. So they fired 300 something missiles. Now they have a blueprint on how to take out Israel.
Okay. That's so if they have a blueprint, that means we have a blueprint too, right? I mean, that's only makes sense because we know where you were shooting the missiles from and where they went, obviously, before you did it. So, and if another thing, I can tell you one thing about the satellites, I don't think people understand. People look at Google Maps and they say, "Whoa, that's pretty cool. You can almost see inside the window, right?"
You can.
Yeah, but you're seeing a restricted view, and people have to realize that. Okay, it's pretty cool, and you're also showing one that's delayed like a year and a half. So if you ever go on Google Maps and you're like you're looking at your house and you're like, "Wow, man, that has my car that I had."
That's my car from that. Get rid of that car.
Yeah, exactly. So because they're not in real time. When it first came out, it was in real time, but then all the constraints came in where there was pressure on Apple and Google and these big companies, tech companies that were giving away too much knowledge. But if you ever seen a real satellite image close up, you would be freaked out. Okay, so if you don't think we know where everyone around this world's everything is, you are naive. Okay,
right.
You can see inside the window of the White House and what time it is on the little clock next to the bed. Okay, that's the detail you can see with the satellites.
Right.
And you're seeing like 1/20th of the high definition satellite images anytime you look at Google Maps or 3D Google Maps or anything like that. So don't think that's as best as it gets, because you're gonna sound like an idiot. You know what I mean? It's like it's not even close.
Well, here's the thing: these people that are commentating, whether they were former, they say they were former military, whatever. Military is a big thing.
Exactly.
It's a huge machine, a lot of compartmentalized information. You could tell me you have a top secret clearance. That means you only know, what goes on in the phone shack on the USS Hunter, some ship.
Right.
But you don't know what's going on all the other 350 other ships. You don't know what's going on in the White House. You don't know what's going on over in all these Army bases or in all these Air Force planes. There's so much you don't know.
Yeah.
All the spies and all the undercover police, the military intelligence. There's so much you don't know. You're so compartmentalized. There's no way you can really get that big picture. I've spent a lot of time to learn the big picture, so I don't know that a lot of people have. And it's when I hear them talk, I'm like, you're naive, man. You're talking about a military that's got more time on the field than everybody else, and you're going to tell me because that team gets some new shoulder pads, they're going to beat us in football. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good one, man. I'm going to use that one starting tonight somewhere. I'm going to find a place to use it. I like that one.
Yeah.
Oh, you think because you got new shoulder pads you can play football, huh? No, I like that, man. I'm going to use that. You think because you got a new cup you're a better hitter? Yeah.
It's the nature of the beast that we live in right now, Chris.
Yeah, 100%. That's actually interesting, because you're right. When it comes to clearance, you have different levels. Clearance. You're in the military.
I used to have one now.
Yeah, you can have like a Q level. That's pretty high. Well, that's going to give you access to a certain level of classified or forbidden information. But
some of those people, they can read you in on something if you have a Q. They can't read you in if you're below that. But just because you have the Q doesn't mean you have everything.
No, the president doesn't have everything.
No, and then if you look at Snowden, for example, he just happened to be where all the data was coming through. So his Q clearance paid dividends.
Right.
He was there where he was there at the bookshelf where all the books were being put.
Yep.
And everyone else didn't even know what the stories were. They're like one page in 10,000 books.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, yeah, 100%. And I've known that forever, and obviously you have too. So it's like there's so much you don't know. It's like, every time you think you know a little bit, there's so much more that you don't know, and that's just in general. But
we're watching a propaganda where we have so many people. We have people out protesting of anti-Israel stuff in America now on American soil. That's getting out of hand. They need to give police their police powers back.
100%.
San Francisco the other day, the bridge got shut down by a bunch
by protesters.
By protesters, but then not only that, it got shut down by a bunch of those crazy car people that do the hot routing on the bridge, and they're doing burnouts in the center of the bridge. And there was such a mass mob, enough cops couldn't respond to it to shut it down.
Right, and I mean that, you know, like economic damage that does to a city for a day when that happens. It's outrageous.
Well, San Francisco's becoming like Gotham City.
It's horrible, dude. It was bad when I worked there, man. It was just a hellhole when I worked there. I mean, I hated it. I loved going home. I hated going there because it was like as soon as you get off the BART train, it smells like urine and
yeah,
everything else, and they accept it. You know, like the citizens accept it for some reason. You know, and it has the potential. San Francisco has the potential to be like one of the best cities in the nation. I mean, it's cool. I mean, the geography, the area. I mean, it's awesome. But I mean, they ruin it. You know, they don't take care of it. It's unbelievable.
Well, that's the thing. I've moved away from California. You still live there. You're watching all these things every day. You wake up, it's another thing. You know.
Right.
I mean, it's.
I think there's advantages and disadvantages to live all different places. Like where you live, I think I love it out there. When I visit there, I think it's awesome. It's maybe not for me right now, but because I like the beach too much. I mean, honestly, the weather, it's kind of like my love of life.
Well, I get that. I get the same thing here, but with some humidity. That's the difference.
Right.
Humidity and mosquitoes. So, where you live, you have the perfect weather, and you have the no humidity, which is the thing that I missed. The moment I got here, I was like, "Damn it, humidity sucks."
Humidity is brutal, and the mosquitoes. You're right, and but it's really nice there, But California, you got to give it some credit because
geography, you can't beat it.
Yeah. And like economically, it's like I think by itself it's the fourth largest or fifth largest economy in the world, right? I mean, just by itself, without any of the United States. Yeah. And it does that with the crappiest governor that you could ever put in office, that has raised more debt. We were at like a surplus in billions, and now we're at a negative. And they cater to the homeless. They cater to being sanctuary, cities and stuff like that. So
it's a sanctuary state.
Yeah, exactly. But it still thrives. So imagine, like when Reagan had it, that's when it was awesome. You know what I'm saying? That's when it was really awesome. And it's getting worse and worse. And I probably won't be here forever, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm at the point where I'm almost entirely sick of it. So,
Yeah.
But
yeah. You live in a nice little area.
Yeah, I'm in a bubble. I'm not going to tell you I'm not. I am. I mean.
Right.
If there's someone that looks like they're out of place, you got like 30 cop cars there, and they're going to harass them and violate all his rights, and yeah, I mean that's what's going to happen. But,
you get to pay to play, man.
Exactly.
The rules of California.
Biggest worry I worry about. I mean, I pay a lot of taxes, obviously, but like if I go outside, there's going to be like a coyote there. That's my biggest worry.
Yeah.
Yeah. or an earthquake,
An earthquake and a bunch of coyotes and an earthquake.
And a tsunami, but I'm high ground. I'm about 5 minutes from the beach, so and you have to go down a big hill, so.
Yeah, you're not. I was watching some of those waves wash up earlier in the year.
Yeah.
They were like, people are like, yeah, they're watching the waves. All of a sudden, bam! Like,
they're sucked in, man. Yeah, it's stupid, man. And like in San Diego, they were doing like boogie board in the streets in downtown,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Imagine the ocean takes you and it's like dragging you on cement. Oh, like if your knees it's not like you're touching the sand. Your legs are getting scraped along the cement and the wave just dragged. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's no different than getting dragged on a reef, but
yeah. Yeah, reef. Yeah.
But you're right. It would be, there's you run into like a baby carriage or a tent or whatever, I don't know. It's like you get suffocated.
A fire hydrant.
A car. Hey man, that's just a car under me. I mean, yeah. So
yeah,
that would suck. It has the sunroof open. You slip in, you die. Lots of things can happen. Yeah.
A lot of obstacles there.